4 in 10 people believe in ghosts. Over a third of people believe intelligent life exists outside of Earth. 43% of people believe demons exist. There are unexplained phenomena happening daily around the globe, and we are here to talk about it. Your portal into UFOs, paranormal, cryptids, the supernatural, the mysterious, the unknown. I see you. This is Beyond the Radar, and this is your host, Humanoid Tom Conway.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back again to Beyond the Radar, your paranormal news program. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. Also, stream us on the UPRN Facebook page and YouTube page, and of course, Beyond the Radar's YouTube and Facebook page. We are also live on Roku TV for all of you wanting to watch. Sit down, ready, enjoy your night of UPRN. We are on Roku TV. Check out our archives there as well, or subscribe to Beyond the Radar's podcast on Spotify for past shows. So, welcome back, everybody. Hope you had all a good week. Hope everything was sane for you. Of course, it's never sane for any of us who are true believers, I should say. And of course, we have something that we need to get into because news is happening every single day, right, people? News is happening every single day in our realm, our paranormal, UFO, spirit, demonic, psychic, medium. Every news is happening every week, and we need to talk about it. So before we get into it, again, our toll-free text board number for anybody who wants to comment, text the show, and get your questions answered by myself. It's 484-283-5328. So again, that's 484-283-5328. And I'll try to remember everybody a little, I'll try to remember saying it a few times, but we had a wonderful show last week. And I want to touch on that actually before, to jog my own memory here. I want to touch on that. So Tanya Rogers was a NASA scientist, created her own product, carbon capture paint, which cleans the air of CO2. And if you don't know, real quick history lesson or science lesson for all of you is you breathe in oxygen, you breathe out CO2. There's plenty of CO2 in the air. We're not trying to get into the whole climate change debate or anything like that, but there is CO2 in the air. And the more we clean it, the healthier the air is. She had a Kickstarter. She ended the Kickstarter on Monday after it was fully funded. So I want to send a thank you to all of you who reached out to me, to reach out to her, who sent messages, who contributed, who donated to her Kickstarter. Thank you so much. We really appreciate what you've done. This is a product that's solely funded by the people and solely funded for the people. And hey, Nicole, good to see you. Good to see you hanging out. Solely funded for the people, by the people, with no corporate interests is the best way to put it. We know what it's like, people. We're loyal, real Americans. We know that big companies will purchase something that works. If it doesn't suit their interest, they'll shelve it, and they have the patent so no one else can do it. This is why this was so important, and I cannot thank the listeners, our wonderful real Americans who called up, who got out there, who sponsored, who helped put some money behind her project. And she'll be on next month on Chasing Prophecy, my other show. So please come back and see her. You guys did a wonderful job. She's so thankful for all of you out there. We wouldn't have crossed this line. She said she wouldn't have, but I'm saying as her, she wouldn't have crossed this finish line without you. So please give yourselves a round of applause, a pat on the back for everything. You guys are wonderful, wonderful, and you kept it out of corporate hands. And let's see where it goes. It's called Carbon Capture Paint, the people's CO2. Look it up, favorite it, bookmark it, keep looking back on it. But you guys got enough for her to initiate her first supply. and to put out a press release. And well, sky's the limit, so everybody who got involved, again, thank you so much. So that was last week. This week, I'm not sure if you know, but there's been a little Vatican press conference, a little conference of the supernatural, and we need to talk about it, ladies and gentlemen. We need to talk about it because this is absolutely mind blowing. Where should the Vatican stay on terms of supernatural miracles? Should they be the authority? Should there be an alternative authority? I don't know about that one. We're going to take all of those into consideration over the next hour and listen to many different articles, some videos, some audio, what have you, and really dive deep into what this could be and why they did that. Because I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people who send me emails, go to beyondtheradarnews.com, submit comments, submit all kinds of things like that. And you talk to me, first of all, you talk to me, you get me. There is no team. There's nobody with even a login to the website other than me. So when I tell you it's me, it's me. But I get to talk to so many fantastic Americans, wonderful free thinkers, and we always know there's another meeting. We always know there's a secondary meaning to everything people do. They'll put the show on in front of the camera, but we need to look behind. And that's why I love doing the show. And that's why I love talking to all of you, is because you all get it. You all get it. And you see, have you thought this could be this? Sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't agree, but we talk about it. And you know what? It's fun, good, healthy conversation. So why did they do that? I have my thoughts. There's something going on, ladies and gentlemen. There's something going on behind the scenes. A spiritual war, if you want to call it that. Something that's not directly in front of our eyes. Think something that's, along the outskirts, the periphery of all of our attention. I don't know what it is. I don't know exactly what it is, but I'm telling you, it seems like a spiritual war. And it seems that evil is getting stronger. What do I mean by evil getting stronger? I mean, as a paranormal investigator, I'm getting much more calls nowadays for investigations, creepy things happening. More and more people who would never ever want to even give 2 cents of their time, or 2 seconds of their time, not 2 cents, my bad, 2 seconds of their time to talk about the paranormal, are saying, I'm noticing weird things happen. Things are out of the ordinary. Things are getting pretty odd. And I came across a clip, right? Hello, Cindy. Good to see you. I came across a clip, everybody, that I'm going to play for you that furthers my thought process here about what's going on with my idea of demons getting stronger. So bear with me 1 second. I'm going to go ahead and get that ready for everyone. All right, here we go.
One of the ways that we actually know that demons are becoming more powerful is we actually keep statistics in our community. Because I've been doing solemn exorcisms for 15 years, and I've been doing regular other exorcisms, minor exorcisms, for about 17 years. And so we started keeping statistics, and what we started to notice is that in relationship to possession, where demons actually possess people, the number of possessions is statistically remaining the same. It's 0.5% of the general population, 0.5%. So 1 out of every 200 people is likely possessed. And of those people that come to us, it's about that same statistic. But statistically, when you're talking about diabolic obsession, the amount of rates of diabolic obsession are drastically on the rise. When you talk to exorcists, what they're finding out is that the statistical number, I polled several of the top exorcists in this country, and I asked them, what percentage do you think of the adult population in this country is diabolically obsessed, which I'll talk about in a minute. Every single one of us came up with the same statistic, 25%. Diabolic oppression is also on the rise, but for different causes. Diabolic oppression is also on the rise. We figure that the average number of people that are being diabolically oppressed is somewhere between 10 and 15% of the population is diabolically oppressed. It's an indicator that the diabolic influence is drastically increasing, and it's increasing for a variety of different reasons. It's increasing because people are doing a lot of evil things. Every mortal sin, this is something I tell people, every mortal sin is an open door to possession. In fact, mortal sin by its nature takes the person out from underneath the authority structure of God and places the person underneath the authority structure of Satan. The proper effect of mortal sin is possession. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody who commits a mortal sin becomes possessed, because even though the person opens the door, God is the one who determines whether the demon gets to step across the threshold. And so that means that by the mercy of God, most people who commit mortal sin do not become possessed. But the number of evil things that people are doing is opening up the door to demons getting more influence in this life. Then, of course, there's the increase in the occult. We're seeing this all over the place. The amount of occult material, the occult activity that's going is drastically on the increase. And as exorcists, we're seeing it across the board. The other thing that we're seeing is, when I first started doing exorcism, well, let's just back up. Before 1963, the average time to liberate someone from full possession was 1 to 2 days. Average time. After 1963, what used to take 1 to 2 days went to 8 months to 2 years to liberate the average person. Then it's now, on average, 4 years to liberate somebody. There's two reasons for that. One is because the world is much more evil and the demons are a lot more powerful. The second component is that exorcisms work what they call ex opere operantis ecclesiae. What does that mean? It means how holy the people are in the Catholic Church determines how effective my prayers are when I walk into session. That tells us that there's a fundamental problem with the members of the church. They're not as holy as their counterparts were in the past.
All right. That was a wonderful little clip right there about furthering the idea that the evil is getting more powerful now. And I don't want to scare anybody and say, like, this is it for sure, this is all of that, but this is on a general mass scale, which I don't think is very hard to believe. Is on a general mass scale, you can see that the world may be getting a little more diabolical, a little more evil, and that effect, demons feed off of that. Negative energy feeds off negative energy. That's why when people are sad and things like that, they're more likely, um, to what's the word? What's the best way to put it? They're more likely to stick around. They're more likely to be there. They're more likely to be present. They're more likely to attach. They're more likely to infect you because you are a fuel source to them. They feed off of the negative energy, the sadness, the greed, the hurt, the pain, the suffering, the depression, all kinds of stuff. Nicole, excellent. Exorcism is the main topic for my next guest. Hint, well, by all means, we need to tune into Nicole's. And I know for a fact, a little story about Nicole. She's going to learn about exorcism. So maybe we can have her on in the future and tell us what she knows and things we can help to aid ourselves. Really, that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to aid ourselves. But that's fascinating. I always thought, and when you hear about it and when you talk about it, you often, I always thought it was a few hours that, the demon had to go to battle with the priest for an exorcism. You know what I mean? You had to go to battle. It was prayer. It was punch, counter punch, essentially. And now for it to be months at a time to get evil out of somebody like that, there's certainly something, there's more for it to hold on to get a full scrubbing clean. That's the way I see it. If you threw, let me put it this way. Let's say you threw ketchup on the, metal sink, right? You can just wipe it off with water and it goes down the drain and it's rather quickly. But if you put if you put ketchup on a sponge, you're going to take a while for it to clean off of there because it's much more porous. There's a lot of holes. You're not rock solid. And if you're not rock solid, there's a lot of crevices for it to attach and keep onto. And Cindy, I have definitely been standing firm with meditation and prayers. Excellent job, Cindy. I always, I could feel that about you. I really could. I could feel that you were very into your spirituality and meditation and prayers. And more power to you because, I'll be honest. And for people who don't know, meditation takes practice. It's not something you get on your first time. And guess what? It's not something you're going to get on your second time or your third time. It's going to be something that is a practice, is a skill as you develop and you keep going and you keep going. So I have the utmost respect for people like Cindy who stay firm in their meditations and their prayers because I don't know what the percentage would be, and I'd be afraid to guess. I would say it's probably under 50%, might be under 30%, where people pray every morning when they wake up and every night when they go to bed. And I'm not trying to make it all about religious. That's just my opinion about what that is. Um, oops, sorry, wrong one. I've seen things go horribly wrong during cleansings, similar to exorcisms. Well, yeah, yeah. So here's my idea with that, everybody. You have people who might not have the strongest foundation doing that and trying to help people. Now their hearts are probably in the right place. Please believe me, I'm sure their hearts are in the right place. They want to help people, but not all priests can do exorcism. You have to be specifically trained for that. So if you're doing a cleansing against something, an attachment, a spirit, a low vibrational energy, I believe is a proper term now for it. If you're doing that and it attaches and it goes haywire, I don't know if you have the tools in your tool bag to do that. I don't know if you have the tools in your tool bag to fight that. I'm not, and that's not a shot at anybody doing it. That's not a shot at anybody's like spiritual practice or anything like that. I just think you are not prepared for what that battle might be, because you're battling something that's been here longer than you. You're here something's much more powerful than you, and it wants whatever it wants out of that person. And it's faith as well. You might be in it for the wrong reasons. I'm sure Nicole has come across many people who have been trying this for many, many different for bad reasons and things like that. So we really, we do have free will. And Nicole makes a good point. I think humans are the hardest to cross over because we still have free will, which is true. And a lot of people might not want to cross over, and many people might not want to admit. Maybe there's a certain level of defeat that they think when they died, and they might not want to admit it. They might think they can still change something, or they're afraid of being judged. I mean, that could be a lot of it too. I can't sit here and tell you that I wouldn't be afraid to be judged. I haven't been a saint in my life. Would that give me pause if I was in my current mindset now? Absolutely. I'm just being honest with you. We're real Americans. We're real, we're all friends here. So let's be honest with each other. I'm afraid. I would be afraid to be judged. I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm living the good life now, but that's not how it always was. We were all kids at some point. So that let's get back to the video there. That first video was talking about how things are progressing and probably not in the best way. Things are devolving where demonic energies, demonic spirits, demonic manifestations, obsessions, and oppressions are on the rise. So I got another little video here that will also completely different guy, completely different area, but we'll see what he's saying too, because a lot of things are very, very similar.
I did an exorcism in the state of Alaska. When the demon manifested, it took 5 people to hold the demon down.
My goodness. Okay, what about languages that they shouldn't know?
Yeah, I've heard examples working with people, whether they're speaking Latin, all of a sudden maybe ancient form of Greek, which I don't speak. But
how did you know it was an ancient form of Greek if you don't speak it?
Just from hearing the dialect, so to speak, okay. the sound of it. I like to study languages, so I've studied Italian and Spanish, and I know some Russian.
Nice. Just
based on my ethnic background, so to speak. So,
okay.
Yeah, so there when demons, and obviously I would know that, in my preliminary investigation, the person in front of me doesn't know Latin.
And okay, so it's not possible that they're just speaking gobbledygook, which you're mistaking for Greek.
Correct.
I mean, that could be possible. I'm thinking as a skeptic now, who would say, I don't know, maybe this person's just talking in tongues the way modern evangelicals do, and you're mistaking that for some other language.
And I would, in those cases, that's why I would have, whenever I meet with somebody, I would never meet with anybody one-on-one, especially in today's world.
Yeah.
So I would always have the person who's afflicted, and then when a family member or friend would come with them, I would have another priest, So if I believe that, there are priests that are skilled theologians in all kinds of languages, and I would have maybe one of them present just to have them weigh in with their theological expertise. I don't claim to be the expert in the room on everything,
Sure.
but I want to rely on, what the church has to offer, within its theology, and so many people are skilled in so many areas. And then they help me determine what it is that I'm up against.
All right, that was the second video I wanted to clip out and show everyone. Specifically the first part. In an exorcism, and it's like you said, it was in Alaska, it took 5 people to hold this affected person down. Now, where does that strength come from? Mass is mass, energy is energy. You are only capable of a certain energy output through your biological dimensions. Obviously, if you're 5'5", 120 pounds, you can output less than somebody who is 6 foot, 250 pounds. It's just how it is. So where does this spiritual energy come from? Where does this drawing energy come from? How is it possible to know languages that you haven't actively learned? There's a lot there that we need to unpack in terms of this. The spiritual energy is coming from some place. And yeah, a few signs of a possessed person. I'm sure you call the unexplained strength, the speaking in tongues, the banter, these beings have been here on earth through the times. We call it ancient Greece. They have been there and lived through it. Latin, a dead language, so to speak, they know it. They have been here through it. When they attach to somebody, I personally think however long that they've been alive or been here on this planet determines their strength. 5 people to hold a demon back. If you let's just think of this logically, all right? One person grabs a leg, and they're only responsible for one leg. So 2 people in the leg, 1 person on each arm. That's 4. And then 1 person for the head, shoulder, torso, whatever, something in like a chokehold, something like that. It takes that many people. Now, an arm, you can grab around, you can wrap tightly. This thing had to have superhuman energy, superhuman strength to pull that out and do that. That's unworldly, ungodly, unhumanly. So the reason why I brought up those 2, and I want to stress on this, I brought those 2 up because we had this supernatural convention, conference, press conference, whatever you want to call it, which laid out 6 criteria, I should say, in the churches, and they're cracking down because this was originally created in 1978 by Pope John Paul II. This was actually created to say the Vatican can determine if this is supernatural based on these things. This is a crackdown. This is a crackdown because there's too many of these occurrences now. This is word for word. This is in the stories. Please Google me, Google everything. Please don't, I'm giving you the truth, but you can find out for yourself. They did that. There's too many of this going on that they need to crack down the criteria. And I'm going to read to you what these criteria are. So they have a lot of Latin words in them. They're all Latin, actually, but I will read them to my best ability and explain in English what they are. So the least. So this is something that it got to them, and there's absolutely no way that this is not supernatural. This is completely fake. They call it a declarato di non supernaturalante. So it's a declaration of not supernatural. And in this situation, the dicastery authorizes the diocese bishop to declare that the phenomenon is found to not be supernatural. This decision must be based on facts and evidence that are concrete and proven. For instance, if an alleged visionary admits to having lied, or if credible witnesses provide elements of the proof that allow one to discover that the phenomenon was based on fabrication, an erroneous attention, or mythomania. So that's one where it's okay. That's completely, this is not supernatural. They investigated it. This guy says that um, the Virgin Mary appeared to him in his bedroom and told him to um, start saving for some kind of Holocaust or nuclear winter or something. And then when they get there and they talk to him, he says, I made it up. I lied. This isn't correct. I'm sorry. I apologize. That is going to be the sixth one, which is declarato, or a declaration of non-supernatural. Above that, we have a prohibitor et obstrato, or obstrator. Now, this is not the complete fake one, but here's what it says. While there are legitimate requests and some positive elements, the critical issue and risk associated with this phenomenon appears to be very serious. Therefore, to prevent further confusion or even scandal that could erode the faith of ordinary people, the dicastery asks the diocese bishop to declare publicly that adherence to this phenomenon is not allowed. At the same time, the bishop is asked to offer catechesis that can help the faithful understand the reasons behind the decision and reorient the legitimate spiritual concerns of the part of people of God. So, what that means is there's actually obstructions. There's obstructions in this that we're not buying. There's some positive elements. So let's say the same thing. I'm going to keep using this same analogy. So the Virgin Mary appears, tells him to prepare for nuclear winter. So let's say this guy took a picture and it doesn't show the Virgin Mary, but it shows maybe a mist or an outline or something, that could be there. And there's no other way for them to reprove it. There's nothing that says this was Mary. It's just a little supernatural thing. All right, there is this evidence here. However, nothing is pointing in the holy direction there. So that's the fifth one. Moving up to the fourth one, this is a submandato, or the mandate. And in this category, the critical issues are not connected to the phenomenon itself, which is rich in positive elements, but to a person, family, or group who are misusing it. For instance, the spiritual existence may be exploited for particularly or undue financial gain, committing immoral acts, or carrying out a pastoral activity apart from one already present in the territory without accepting the instructions of the diocese bishop. In this situation, the pastoral leadership is a specific place where the phenomenon is occurring and entrusted to the diocese bishop. So, in that one, people have taken it and ran with it. So, let's go back to our same thing right there. Let's go back to our same idea. They talk about Virgin Mary told me to come here, or said to buy up a bunch of stuff and prepare for nuclear winter. He goes to his local priest. He shows the picture. He tells them what they said, and they go ahead and they start spreading it out among the community. Go buy canned food, go buy water, go buy whatever you need to. We need to stock up for this nuclear winter. Nobody had told the Vatican. Nobody went through the proper channels, and maybe they are selling things to get a financial gain. That is the third one. That he has some people in the church agreeing, but they're using this as misuse and not in the best way. So now that was 4. Here is 3, curator. That's probably the easiest word here, curator. While various or significantly critical elements are noted, at the same time, the phenomenon has already spread widely. There are some verifiable spiritual fruits connected to it. In this situation, a ban that could upset the people of God is not recommended. Nevertheless, the diocese bishop is asked not to encourage this phenomenon, but seek out an alternative expression of devotion and possibly reorient its spiritual and pastoral aspects. So, real interesting one there. What you have there, right? What you have there is people that, let's say this same scenario. He takes a picture. But instead of just a mist, instead of just something in the shadows or anything like that, you actually see a face, or the face of the Virgin Mary or something like that, where, okay, now it's not a mist. Now it's actually fruitful. Now it's actually, oh yes, that is what I see here. Everybody sees it. But they can't verify that that's what she said. It's just a picture. There's no audio. It's not a video. It's anything like that. But there is something there. That's what they call the curator or the median, which, there are supernatural aspects, but we need to use this as a prayer tool. Let's not worry, you know what I mean? Let's not have people go out and go crazy and things like that, preparing for a nuclear winter. Okay, number 2 is Prae Oculis Habitur, which is, although important positive signs are recognized, some aspects of confusion and potential risks are perceived that require the diocese bishop to engage in careful discernment and dialogue with the recipients of the spiritual experience. If there are writings or messages, doctrinal clarification might be necessary. So this is almost the full-fledged, yup, that's real. This is the one right before it. So you have your situation. This guy says the Virgin Mary appeared to him, has, prepare for nuclear winter. But this time, the picture is Mary in a mirror. And then let's say there's some writing in something. You know what I mean? There's some writing on a mirror or something. And the Vatican takes that into account. It goes, talks to this person. It verifies, okay, a lot of this is true. Look at that. But we can't verify that you didn't write those words. Everything is right, but maybe we need to clarify, what do the words actually say? If it says prepare for the bombing or something like that, he could have taken that and said it's nuclear winter, but others can take it as some other means right there, right? Correct? So that's what the second one is. And now the first one, this is nihil obstat. This is the one that everyone's talking about. Without expressing any certainty about how the spiritual nature or supernatural authenticity of the phenomenon itself, many signs of the action of the Holy Spirit are acknowledged in the midst of giving a spiritual experience. No aspects are particularly critical or risky have been detected, at least so far. For this reason, the diocese bishop is encouraged to appreciate the pastoral value of the spiritual proposal and promote its spread, including possibilities of pilgrimages to the sacred site. So that one is we verify, we vouch, this is correct. So we're going to change my little scenario up there. This guy doesn't have a picture. He has a video. He captures a video of Mary appearing to him and saying, love one another. Please, let's all hold hands. Let's love one another. Something like that. The video is sent to experts. They can't prove the technological, that it's fake. They verify that this is a real audio. The priest comes and the Vatican comes and they see the area there. They match up the video with where it was, and then they say there's nothing here that's stopping anybody from using this as a full-fledged miracle. So those are the 6 new rules that they have. Those are the 6 guidelines. Those are the 6 criteria that are now being ushered in, that are now being approved by the Vatican. And they're only going to come to those 6 conclusions. Not only that, the nihil obstat, or the one where they said, I can't verify this is, this is not fake, this is real, that can only be uttered by the Pope. Now, the Pope isn't going to be the one actually going on the investigations, anything like that. However, all of that will come to him and they'll tell him, and who will make that proclamation that, yes, something amazing happened and we need to pay attention to it. So, my loyal, wonderful listeners, that is what was happening with the Vatican. That is what was happening with the Vatican press conference. Please check online. A lot of them are subtitled, which is great because how many of us know Latin? I know I don't. But why don't everybody stay tuned? We're going to take a little commercial break. And when we get back, we're going to talk into the UFO conspiracy in the Vatican. Something very fun. So just hang on, everybody, and we will be right back.
4 in 10 people believe in ghosts. Over a third of people believe intelligent life exists outside of Earth. 43% of you believe demons exist. We invite you to Beyond the Radar, your paranormal news show. If it's unexplained phenomena happening daily around the globe, we're talking about it. Exploring the unexplained, challenging the conventional, and diving deep into the shadows that lurk just beyond our perception. Come join the transmission on the United Public Radio Network. Once you come, you'll never be the same.
Meet Daniel Knight, a psychologist with an extraordinary gift to absorb and heal the deepest wounds of the mind. In the heart of a chilling investigation, every secret unraveled binds him closer to darkness. But as he delves into the psyche of a killer, his own demons emerge. Caught in a battle within and against an evil that seeks to exploit his powers, where the line between savior and victim blurs. Dare to heal the wounds of the mind. Healer. Read it today.
Do you want to reach millions with your product or service? Are you looking to connect with a diverse, intelligent, and engaged audience? Then look no further. Beyond the Radar radio show is your golden ticket to achieving just that. Our listeners are curious, open-minded, and always eager to learn. They value quality, authenticity, and innovation, just like your brand. With Beyond the Radar, your advertisement will be heard by millions of dedicated listeners. Our show covers a wide range of topics, attracting a diverse audience that could be your next loyal customers. So why wait? Take your brand to Beyond the Radar and into the hearts and minds of millions. Advertise with us. Let's explore the extraordinary together. Beyond the Radar radio show, where your brand meets a world of curious minds. Contact us today for advertising opportunities at www.beyondtheradarnews.com and fill out our contact form. We hope to talk to you soon.
Samantha survives a tragic accident thanks to Lucian, an enigmatic being. Her newfound abilities catch the attention of a secretive government agency. Drawn to Lucian despite the danger, Samantha is unaware of his true identity. She teams up with Lucian's brothers in a daring mission to rescue him. Accused unfairly, Lucian seeks refuge on his distant homeworld. Can Samantha prove Lucian's innocence and save their forbidden love? From the Sky by J.E. Nicasio. Available now. Get your copy on Amazon and BNN.
All right, everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Radar. And before we jump into our next topic, I'm going to read our text board. Again, if you want to chime in, 484-283-5328. One from, actually, we have a multiple here from a few different people. Katie in Houston, Phil in and Becca in Colorado. Roughly asking the same question, and it was, what are some Catholic Church miracles that have that are officially in the, as the, we can't prove that this is fake? And I have a list right here of a few. Most of these are from back in the day, but just bear with. First off, we have Our Lady of Guadalupe in Mexico. An indigenous Mexican man, Juan Diego. So an indigenous Mexican man is part, Native American and Mexican. So an indigenous Mexican man named Juan Diego reported several apparitions of the Virgin Mary in 1531. For believers, the image of the Virgin that hangs in the basilica is the miracle itself, made when Juan carried flowers from his cloak after receiving one of the visions, and upon opening it, found the cloak displayed a detailed, colorful image of the Virgin Mary. Wow, that is absolutely crazy. So that one was tried, tested, vetted, and they could not find an explanation. Now we jump to Lourdes, France. On July 16 in 1858, there were purported visions of Mary by a young girl, Bernadette Soubirous, and the discovery of the allegedly healing spring waters in southern France near the Pyrenees. I don't know what to say about the healing spring waters, but the visions that were there were tried, tested, vetted, and they could not come up with another explanation. And we also have Fatima, Portugal, where 3 shepherd children said the Virgin Mary appeared to them 6 times in 1917 and confided in them 3 secrets. The first 2 described an apocalyptic image of hell, foretold the end of World War I and also the start of World War II, and then also the rise and fall of Soviet communism. So those 1, 2, 3, 3 are completely vetted, tested, and they could not come up with an alternative to that. So there are some that are being that are claimed, and I guess would fall into that category just below. And one of the biggest ones is Medjugorje, Bosnia Herzegovina in 1981. 6 children and teenagers said they saw apparitions of Mary on a hill in the village of Medjugorje, and some of the original seers claimed to receive continuous revelations. The Vatican has been studying this phenomenon for years. An official said Tuesday that a decision was expected soon. So that one is still, I mean, they're still considering it. But that's almost 43 years, and they're taking their time on it. You can guarantee that. The next one is Our Lady All Nations in Amsterdam, one of the most egregious cases of flip-flopping determinations by the Catholic authorities over the course of 70 years about the supernatural nature of the purported Marian apparitions. In 2020, the current bishop, with the backing of the Vatican, reaffirmed the 1974 negative judgment from the Vatican about the supernaturality of the alleged apparitions. So they went from yes to no, and then stayed no. So those are the ones right now that are currently so far, just the three that are, we can't verify, or we can't say that this is faked at all. So moving on from that one, this is a UFO show. And what would you think if I were to tell you is the Vatican's official opinion on UFOs and aliens? My belief would be that they would say, no, that's not, it's not correct. There are none. And to keep up with the cover up, because it would prove certain amounts of what they believe in false. America, I was wrong. The Vatican has already come out. And said that there is life on other planets. Please look that up. And I have an article right here about a Vatican scientist who echoes essentially what I have been saying, on here as well, is that you can believe in your religion and you can believe in UFOs. You don't have to believe in one or the other. So let me get into that article. This is an article from 1908, Reuters Worldwide. The Vatican's chief astronomer says there's no conflict in believing in God and the possibility of extraterrestrial brothers, and that's in quotes, perhaps more evolved than humans. And this is from Reverend Jose Gabriel Funes. In my opinion, this possibility exists. How can we exclude that life has developed elsewhere? Explaining that large number of galaxies and their own planets made this possible. And asked if referring to similar to humans or even more evolved humans, he said, certainly in a universe this big, you can't exclude this hypothesis. In the interview headline, The Extraterrestrial is My Brother, he said he saw no conflict between the belief in such beings and faith in God. Just as there are a multiplicity of creatures on Earth, there can be other beings, even intelligently created by God. This is not in contrast with our faith because we can't put limits on God's creative freedom. Why can't we speak of a brother extraterrestrial? It would still be a part of his creation. Funes runs the observatory, which is based in south of Rome and in Arizona, held out the possibility that the human race might actually be the lost sheep of the universe. There could be other beings who remained in full friendship with their creator. Christians have been at odds with scientists over whether the Bible should read literally, or issues such as creationism versus evolution would be hotly debated for decades. The Inquisition condemned the astronomer Galileo in 17th century for insisting Earth revolved around the sun, and the Catholic Church did not rehabilitate him back in until 1992. Funia said dialogue between faith and science could be improved if scientists learned more about the Bible and the church kept more up to date with scientific progress. Funes, an Argentine, said that he believed, as an astronomer, that the most likely explanation for the start of the universe was the Big Bang, the theory that sprang into existence dense matter billions of years ago. But he said this was not in conflict with faith in God as a creator. God is the creator. There is a sense to creation. We are not children of an accident, he said. As an astronomer, I continue to believe that God is the creator of the universe and that we are not the product of something casual, but children of a good father who has a project of love in mind for us, he said. I quote again, that was Reuters. So yes, that's something that I wanted to absolutely talk about. That does not, they don't cross people. They do not cross. You can have a belief in extraterrestrial brothers and your faith in God. Please do not cross them. Please do not get them mixed up. I have another short clip here that I'm going to play for everybody. Let me get that up right now.
The Vatican Dicastery for the Doctrine of the Faith is no longer in the shadows when it comes to dealing with alleged Marian apparitions or supernatural phenomena. Before now, the Dicastery had made suggestions, but its role on the matters were not clear. One example of this is the case of a village in Italy, where a woman claimed to have visions of a Virgin Mary who allegedly wept blood. The bishop of the area said the supposed apparitions were not supernatural. In the case of Trevignano, the bishop had the encouragement of our dicastery to act. Now we can say so. Before, it was not said. We can specify it. He had the accompaniment and the support to declare it as not supernatural. Another of the most controversial cases is that of Medjugorje, a town in Southeast Europe where there are also alleged apparitions. Pope Francis has been very skeptical on the subject and has said so publicly.
Le presunte apparizioni attuali, l'informe ha I suoi dubbi. Io personalmente sono più cattivo. Io preferisco la Madonna Madre, nostra Madre, e non la Madonna Capo di Ufficio delle grafiche.
Norms outlined in their new document can help resolve it in a simpler way. In the last decades, the number of alleged phenomena have increased, and as the Vatican doctrinal head points out, a declaration from the dicastery is not necessary. The case of Lourdes, Fatima, and Guadalupe, the enormous growth of these experiences is not that they depended on a declaration of supernaturality. So for a phenomenon to grow under the action of the Spirit, it is not indispensable that these declarations continue to be made, which in fact have been very rare, very few. In the last century, I have counted more or less 6, no more in a century. Therefore, the Vatican will not declare if alleged apparitions are real. The only person with the power to endorse an apparition is the Pope himself. However, the dicastery says this would be a rare occasion.
So, there you have that right there. And then let's talk about finally getting into this UFO cover-up with the Vatican. So here I'm going to read from a little Newsweek article about David Grush. If you don't remember who David Grush is, he was the whistleblower in the testimony, the whistleblower testimony last summer. I believe it was the end of July in front of Congress. And if anybody has Tubi, please go watch Jeremy Corbell's UFO his documentary presented by TMZ. It gives a very good wrap up of all of that, and you can know who the players are, who the people are, and get everything wrapped up so everybody's more on the same page about that one. But again, listening to This Newsweek article I'm going to go ahead and read. Pressure is growing on the Vatican to shed light on whether it was aware of a UFO being retrieved from Italy in the 1930s, amid a slew of claims about the U.S. government's knowledge and handling of contact with alien life. It also follows claims made by David Grush, a U.S. Air Force veteran who previously worked at the National Reconnaissance Office, the NRO, on UFOs. In an interview in June, that an unidentified aerial phenomenon was recovered from Magenta, a town near Milan, in 1933, before becoming a U.S. possession with the help of the Papal State, or the Vatican. The whistleblower was among 3 people to recently testify to the House Oversight Committee on the allegations. He repeated his earlier claim that the federal government had been aware of non-human activity since the 1930s. Grush alleged that the then Pope Pius the 12th had back-channeled knowledge of UFOs to the U.S., which ended up scooping it from them. When asked explicitly whether he was saying that the Catholic Church knew about the existence of alien life, Grush responded, certainly. Ross Cowhart, one of the journalists who interviewed Grush prior to the congressional hearing, told News Nation that other unnamed sources had confirmed the story to him and suggested that the Vatican's silence may be a sign of the claim's truth. It's a very difficult situation for the Vatican because if Mr. Grush is telling the truth, and I'm told that he is, it's a difficult thing for the Vatican to admit without the U.S. concurring. I'm told the Vatican does have a very efficient intelligence service, and its long collaborations, intelligence services like the CIA, providing useful intelligence, especially in the wake of the Second World War. The possibility of alien life poses a complex theological question for the Catholic Church, which holds that humans were created as intelligent creatures by God and have a special connection to Him through Jesus Christ. But this does not mean that the same cannot be said of another similar life form. In 2008, Jesuit Father Jose Funes, then director of the Vatican Observatory, told the state's newspaper there was no conflict between faith and the possibility of extraterrestrial brothers. Wow. So, a lot to unpack there, but if we were to believe David Grush has went forward on our behalf, everybody, on our behalf, to tell everybody that, you know, he's been personally threatened. This is what I know. This is all that I know. And this is what you need to know because I'm here in front of you, in front of Congress, on given this trial deposition. I've heard about that Vatican story, which seemingly true, if it is true, blows out every idea out of the water about when we were first contacted. In our modern time, many of us here in America consider Roswell that the first modern, crashed site. This would have been 27 years or so before that in another country that was funneled by the Vatican. This plays really interestingly, ladies and gentlemen, into the thought that aliens, and a new rising popular thought that aliens are not extraterrestrial creatures, however, they're higher dimensional beings. They are on a different plane than us, and some consider them angelic. If they are what angels are supposed to be, if they are what that is, then not only does it become apparent you can believe in extraterrestrials and the Bible, it also kind of confirms that you need to have both. You can't have one without the other. Very fascinating, very interesting, very great ideology right there. And again, thanks to David Grush, who put his own neck out there, ladies and gentlemen. He did what a lot of you would do, a lot of what we would do here, and stick out for the truth. And the fact that he did that makes him a hero in my book. So yeah, I can't imagine what more needs to be said about that man. But the Vatican and the U.S. have a odd relationship. Everybody, they do, and please look it up. Please don't just believe me. there's a lot of property in New York, property in New York City, actually, that's owned by the Vatican. Why? I don't know. There's a lot of property in the United States that are owned by the Vatican. Why? I don't know. Why did the Vatican, instead of Italy, where it crash landed, why did they not get um, the property of the vehicle? 1930 is a very tumultuous time, especially in Italy, in that area in England, or I'm sorry, in Europe. Why was that back channeled to the United States? What could we have given to get that? The question remains to be seen, obviously. We have no idea. But I want to leave you on a note that and summarize this whole episode, really. Evil's getting stronger. Demons are getting more powerful. Attachments are taking longer. UFOs are now considered true by the Vatican. All of this has happened under our noses. Please keep your nose to the ground. Please keep everything in mind. Please listen. Thank you, Nicole. I really appreciate that. Please keep that in mind, everyone. Keep your ears open. Keep your eyes open. Keep reading. It's something we can do. Keep listening to truth talkers and people not just out for your money. Please continue to do that because we really, really need everybody on the same page. And that'll be it for me. We've been broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 in the Gulf Coast, 107.7 in New Orleans. And we've also been airing on Roku TV. You can catch our archive there and subscribe to the Beyond the Radars podcast on Spotify for past shows. Thank you all for tuning in, commenting, texting. We will see you all next week.
4 in 10 people believe in ghosts. Over a third of people believe intelligent life exists outside of Earth. 43% of you believe demons exist. We invite you to Beyond the Radar, your paranormal news show. If it's unexplained phenomena happening daily around the globe, we're talking about it. Exploring the unexplained, challenging the conventional, and diving deep into the shadows that lurk just beyond our perception. Come join the transmission on the United Public Radio Network. Once you come, you'll
Meet Daniel Knight, a psychologist with an extraordinary gift to absorb and heal the deepest wounds of the mind. In the heart of a chilling investigation, every secret unraveled binds him closer to darkness. But as he delves into the psyche of a killer, his own demons emerge. Caught in a battle within and against an evil that seeks to exploit his powers, where the line between savior and victim blurs. Dare to heal the wounds of the mind. Healer. Read it today.
Do you want to reach millions with your product or service? Are you looking to connect with a diverse, intelligent, and engaged audience? Then look no further. Beyond the Radar radio show is your golden ticket to achieving just that. Our listeners are curious, open-minded, and always eager to learn. They value quality, authenticity, and innovation, just like your brand. With Beyond the Radar, your advertisement will be heard by millions of dedicated listeners. Our show covers a wide range of topics, attracting a diverse audience that could be your next loyal customers. So why wait? Take your brand to Beyond the Radar and into the hearts and minds of millions. Advertise with us. Let's explore the extraordinary together. Beyond the Radar radio show, where your brand meets a world of curious minds. Contact us today for advertising opportunities at www.beyondtheradarnews.com and fill out our contact form. We hope to talk to you soon.
Samantha survives a tragic accident thanks to Lucian, an enigmatic being. Her newfound abilities catch the attention of a secretive government agency. Drawn to Lucian despite the danger, Samantha is unaware of his true identity. She teams up with Lucian's brothers in a daring mission to rescue him. Accused unfairly, Lucian seeks refuge on his distant homeworld. Can Samantha prove Lucian's innocence and save their forbidden love? From the Sky by J.E. Nicasio. Available now. Get your copy on Amazon and BNN.